I remember very clearly that morning I couldn't get out of bed. I was 48, my knees just wouldn't cooperate. I had to roll on my side, slide one leg down, push myself up with my arms, like my body had aged 20 years overnight. And every step to the bathroom, I could hear the clicking. And that wasn't all. I actually ended up on crutches. The pain was that bad. And sitting there with those metal poles under my arms, the thought that hit me was, is this really my life? Is this what aging feels like? Your body slowly seizing up while you pretend everything's fine. After that initial shock of it and getting over the idea that I thought I was doing everything right, I told myself, Nin, you can't accept this story. And now I want to gently stop you right where you are and tell you that you're not broken either. Your joints aren't worn out just because you're over 40. That clicking, that morning stiffness, it isn't a life sentence. It's simply a signal. And I know you've probably told yourself, I've tried everything. Maybe this is just my age. Well, it isn't. I'm living proof because I feel better at 58 than I did at 48. And today I'm going to show you exactly how, because this isn't a wear and tear problem. It's actually a cortisol problem. One stress hormone's been quietly draining that fluid that cushions your joints, molecule by molecule while you slept. And almost nobody is looking at it this way. And later I'll give you the one question that changes how you hear that click forever. It's free and you can apply it tonight. Because here's what I couldn't stop thinking about. Every joint in your body is cushioned by a thick, slippery fluid produced by the membrane that wraps around it. That fluid is what keeps bone from grinding on bone. And I had clients in their 60s with smooth, pain-free joints, and women in their early 40s who couldn't climb stairs. So if this were just wear and tear, that gap shouldn't exist. And that's why I refused to accept that crutches were my final chapter. I did what I always do. I dug deeper, and what I found wasn't aging at all. It was a cellular injury, and like most injuries, it can heal. So do this for me now. Roll your shoulders back slowly. Did you hear anything? A click, a crunch, or catch? Right click in the comments, because that sound is evidence. And in a moment, I'll tell you exactly what it means. Because that sound isn't just air bubbles, and it's just aging is not a diagnosis. It's a complete dismissal. Every joint in your body is wrapped in a membrane, a thin lining that produces a thick, slippery fluid. Think of it as engine oil for your joints. Its job is to lubricate the surfaces, absorb impact, and feed your cartilage. And here's what most people don't know. Cartilage has no blood supply, zero. It gets all of its nutrients from that fluid. So no fluid, no feeding. Cartilage starves. And now here's where the crime scene starts. When cortisol surges, and it surges every night around 3 a.m. in women over 40, it does two things at once. First, it tells the membrane to stop producing that protective fluid. The lubrication line shuts down. Second, and this is the brutal part, it switches on enzymes that act like tiny scissors, cutting up the collagen and the cartilage your joints are actually built from. So while your cushioning fluid is draining away, your cartilage is being broken down at the same time. One hormone, two forms of damage every single night. When the fluid thins, cartilage starves. No blood supply means no repair. It literally dries up, it cracks, and does this silently for years until one morning you can't open a jar, or your knee won't bend past 90 degrees, or you hear that click every time you stand up. And here's why it never settles on its own. Damaged cartilage itself sends out inflammatory signals. Those signals trigger more cortisol. More cortisol means more of those tiny scissors cutting more cartilage, which sets off more alarms. The damage becomes the thing that drives the damage. One hormone feeding itself. Once that loop starts, it simply accelerates. Now do this with me. Press your thumb gently into the soft tissue on the side of your knee right now. If you feel any tenderness there, that's the membrane already inflamed, the first sign that the loop has started. So why not write repair in the comments if you're ready for the tools that calm this down and reverse the damage. First, let's see what the conventional system has to offer when you say, my knees hurt every morning, my fingers are stiff for an hour, I'm 52, is this just aging? Well, they typically offer you anti-inflammatory medication, pills that block the pain signal. That's it. They were never designed to restore the fluid in your joints, never designed to repair the cartilage. They mute the alarm while the demolition continues underneath. And then there's the corticosteroid injections. Now let that sink in for a minute. The medical system's answer to a joint being destroyed by cortisol is to inject synthetic cortisol directly into that joint. The very hormone stripping your fluid and cutting up your cartilage, manufactured in a lab and pushed straight through a needle into the damage it caused. Sure, you might get relief for some days, weeks, or maybe months, but studies show that every single injection thins that cartilage further. You're not treating the problem, you're accelerating it, and they're charging you for the privilege. And the worst one? Lose some weight and take it easy. For a cellular injury that's been progressing for years, that's not a treatment plan. That's the system closing your file. So I went looking for what actually repairs this kind of damage, something that works at the level where the injury actually happens. And what I found changed everything I understood about joint pain, because the answer isn't in a prescription at all. Here's what I found. Cortisol's been tearing your joints down faster than your body can repair them. But your joints can repair. And I'm going to show you the 3 tools I use in clinic to help them do exactly that. As a clinical naturopath with 15 years in practice, I prescribe standardized medicinal extracts. The active compounds concentrated and dosed at therapeutic levels. They're proven in human research. It's a world of difference from what you'd grab off a supermarket shelf or pharmacy, because this is foundational medicine. It addresses the root cause that no other remedy touches. We're not managing symptoms here, we're repairing the cells, because your cells are the foundation of everything. So that's where we start. Tool number 1, you have to turn off the tap, because having the best repair system means nothing if cortisol keeps flooding in at 3 a.m. You'll always be finding upstream. So this comes first. The most researched compound for this is ashwagandha root. It's a plant that's been used for thousands of years, and now it has the clinical evidence to back it up. Because in 2019, a gold standard trial used 240 milligrams a day to bring cortisol down by nearly 28% in just 60 days. Not a small shift, nearly a third less cortisol in 2 months. The key word, though, is standardized. That means the active part of the plant, the part that actually does the work. It's guaranteed at a specific level in every dose. The powder in a supermarket tub, you don't know what you're getting. A standardized extract means you do. And one simple free thing you can do tonight, a small amount of protein before bed, say an egg or some bone broth. Why? Because protein steadies blood sugar through the night, so cortisol doesn't surge in the first place to compensate for a blood sugar spike. No supplement needed, you can start tonight. Now, turning off the tap is step 1, but you also need to put out the fire cortisol has already started, because the last thing you want is fresh repair arriving while those tiny scissors are still cutting. Think of it like this. Your joint membrane is trying to work in a house that's on fire. You can send in builders, but first you have to put out the flames. For this, I use 2 compounds. First, boswellia. You might know it as frankincense. It goes straight to the pathway that switches on those cartilage-cutting enzymes we just talked about and turns them down. Human trials show it helps protect synovial fluid and slows that breakdown. Second, curcumin. That's the active part of turmeric, but purified and concentrated, so it actually reaches the joint. The powder in your spice rack doesn't do this. A standardized extract does. Together, these 2 put out the fire, so the repair crew we're about to send in can actually get to work. And by doing this, you're not forcing anything. You're turning down the fire and giving the joint the environment it needs to repair itself. But here's the thing. Boswellia, curcumin, ashwagandha, they're powerful, but they're the resources your cells use to do the repair. You still need the repair crew itself. Your joint has its own repair crew working on site, cells right there in the membrane whose whole job is to renew, restore fluid production, and rebuild what cortisol tears down. This happens every day. Your joints are built to repair. But here's the catch. Cortisol's been damaging that on-site crew faster than they can keep up. And when the local team gets overwhelmed, your body's meant to send in reinforcements, fresh new stem cells released from your bone marrow that travel through your bloodstream to the joint. Marrow supplies the recruits, the membrane puts them to work, except those reinforcements have been slowing down since about the age of 18. So by 50, more than half of your repair crew is gone. So the on-site cells are damaged and fewer recruits are arriving to replace them. So the question isn't, can my joints recover? It's, how do I get fresh reinforcements out of the bone marrow and all the way to the joint and protect them while they work? That's tool 3, stem cell nutrition. The final piece, getting reinforcements out of the bone marrow and all the way to the joints. For this, I use 2 formulas that work together. The first is the release formula. Think of your bone marrow as a depot. It's where your body stores repair cells. This formula has 3 natural algae compounds that help open that gate. AFA, a very rare blue-green microalgae from a single lake in Oregon in the US. It signals the bone marrow to release those repair cells into your bloodstream. Fucoidan, from a specific seaweed, it also helps increase the number of circulating stem cells. And third, a specialized spirulina extract. It supports every step of that journey, the release, the travel, and the arrival. But here's the thing. Remember that click, that crack when you rolled your shoulders? That's a joint that's dried out and starved. And this is the catch. Cartilage has no blood supply of its own. It's one of the hardest places in your whole body for repair cells to reach. So releasing them from the marrow isn't enough on its own. You have to get them all the way there. That's what the delivery formula does. It contains 3 actions. First, enzymes. Think of them as tiny scissors that clear the sticky buildup, slowing down your bloodstream. Second, gotukola and ginkgo biloba, 2 standardized plant extracts that support the walls of your smallest blood vessels. And third, a trio of antioxidants, astaxanthin, sea buckthorn, and hydroxytyrosol. These protect your repair cells from oxidative damage while they're in transit. Think of oxidative stress like rust inside your blood vessels. These 3 clean it up. So the release formula opens the gate and the delivery formula clears the road all the way to a joint your bloodstream barely reaches. Nothing synthetic, nothing foreign. You're simply topping up a repair crew your body already knows how to use. And everything I do use across all 3 tools is in my 90-day cellular repair guide. Turn to page 13 and click the cellular repair support link. So turn off the tap, put out the fire, rebuild the repair crew with stem cell nutrition. That's the sequence. That's what I do in clinic. And that's what I go through in the guide. And here's the question I promised you at the start. Next time you hear that click, instead of thinking, how worn out am I? Ask this instead. What signal is my body responding to? Because every symptom is communicating with you. So that one question changes everything. It moves you from blaming your body to finding the cause. My 90-day cellular repair guide is the structured way to answer this question across every joint, not just the loud ones. You've tried synthetic cortisone. You've heard it's just wear and tear. Now you know that none of it touches the cause. This is your way out. It's natural. It's science-backed. Used by me and my clients worldwide. We're not chasing symptoms. We're repairing your cells. The foundation your whole body is built on. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that I've walked through this myself, from crutches at 48 to walking pain-free in my late 50s, because I just knew this wasn't my final chapter. That's why I dug deeper, like I always do. And it wasn't just for me, but for every woman who's come to see me in clinic wondering if the stiffness and the clicking is just something she has to live with now. What I found became my 90-day cellular repair guide, the exact protocol I use to support my body's own joint repair. It's all laid out simply so you know exactly where to start. And if you've tried everything and nothing has held, please hear this. You never failed. Your body was doing exactly what it was built to do with the signal it was given. So change the signal and the whole picture changes. Women just like you and me, women who were told their labs were normal while their joints were quietly running dry, are using this guide right now. So download it, it's free at the link in the description, and start tonight. Then ask yourself this: if cortisol was behind your joints all along, what else is running on that same broken signal? Because it doesn't stop there. The same hormone drives your 3 a.m. wake ups, your belly fat, your brain fog, and your grey hair. That's the cortisol quad. 4 full investigations already on this channel. Your joints now make up the 5th. It's one suspect in every crime scene. So start with whichever hits closest to home for you. And maybe share this with a woman who's been told it's just wear and tear, because she deserves a real answer as well. Then subscribe, because the next case file is the biggest yet. And it's the one most women never connect to stress at all: your mitochondria, your cellular power plants, and what cortisol has been quietly doing to your energy for years. That investigation is next. I'll see you there.